So, welcome back, everyone. It is a great pleasure to introduce Lizzi today. So, Lizzi does a number of different kind of approaches. She's a blue health coach. She's a yoga teacher. She does breath work. I just joked to Lizzi that we could probably have interviewed her every single week throughout the course. So it's great to have you here today, Lizzi. So we're going to talk a little bit, or try to, a little bit about breathwork and the transition between single point of focus and expanded awareness. But just before we get going, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit and just let these lovely people know about the work that you do, first of all?
Yeah, happy to, Joey. So first of all, thanks very much for including me in this project. So as you said, I'm a blue health coach, which needs a bit of explanation actually. What actually is a blue health coach? So blue health coaching predominantly works outdoors, and for me that's at the coast, but blue health can include river work, it can include lakes and streams, whatever your water is. But water is the focus of how we spend our time. So we spend our time in watery locations, and that's doing change work, so working with people around change, transition. And I like to use the coast because it's a transitional space and everything is changing in the coastline. And it's traditional coaching, but it's also using philosophical discussion, storytelling. So there's lots of narrative around how the environment might be reflecting what's going on for the individual. And we use the space to transition through the space so that people can create emergent outcomes for themselves. So it's less of that A to B type coaching. So although we can do some goal setting, it's more about how you're showing up day to day and where are you aspiring to move, and make sure that you're progressing towards what's wise for you. So not specifically something that might be a non-ecological goal. It's very eco-centric, which is where the yoga comes in. It's where the breath work comes in that I don't see human beings at the top of the tree. We're part of that beautiful ecosystem. So it's around seeing your place in the world and transitioning through space.
I love it. Sign me up.
Okay.
So could you talk to us a little bit about kind of your personal, how did you come across sort of meditation and even the sort of the blue health side of things? Sort of, can you talk a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, so like for lots of people, this type of meditation, we think that it's something that's non-attainable potentially. I would say meditation for me started as a child, spending time at the beach. I wouldn't have labelled it meditation, but I'd have been sitting wave watching.
Love that!
Fully immersed.
I just got goose pimples. I love it.
Fully immersed. I've been watching the tadpoles swimming in the river. That's meditation. I've been catching waves. That's meditation. So it would have started then. I worked in animal rescue for a long time, and I now volunteer in animal rescue for seals and cetaceans, but I used to work with dogs and cats with control orders and herd animals. So meditation would be sitting with the animals and connecting with them and breathing with them and being in the same space as them and reflecting each other's energy and noticing what that did. So that was meditation. Wouldn't have labelled it that.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Then worked in NLP, so the world of how do we relate to other human beings and how do we communicate. So again, sensory awareness, noticing, paying attention to myself, paying attention to other people. Meditation. That's meditation. Trained as a yoga teacher, formal meditation training. So what is meditation? So that quietening the mind, quietening the chatter, being able to focus in, but also expand your awareness depending on what you are aiming to achieve from your meditation. I keep bees, meditation. So observing bees, being in their space, sharing that space, noticing the patterns and formations of the way that they move, all of that meditation. I'm an ocean advocate and ocean activist. So the spiritual practice of loving the environment and loving the ocean, that's meditation. That's actually having a calling. The mantras that we have with ourselves when we see the environment destroyed and we need to get into that resourceful space, meditation. So it's an interesting one. Where does it start? Where does it start when we consciously think of it as meditation is a different question versus when does it actually start, I think. And that's for me. I free dive, and that's all of free diving, the breath work that we do with free diving, and again being in that space, in that environment underwater, is meditation. And blue health is, I started as a child loving the ocean, blue health, and having meditation and mindfulness as part of the way that we approach the way that we live and show up with each other. That became much more of a formal approach back in 2009 when I started coaching at the beach all the time. And it was a case of this space promotes people to very intuitively step into a more meditative state. So without really having to force it. The environment plays such a massive part, and nature and wildlife plays such a massive part in just gently inviting us into that space. So, yeah. That's a long answer.
I absolutely loved that answer, and I think it's so true. You know, it's if we just let ourselves, if we just, you know, surrender and just allow, it's just naturally there. I kind of feel like meditation or mindfulness or, you know, awareness, living in presence is like the most basic fundamental human thing. You know, it's something we all do so naturally, and then, you know, and often we can come to meditation practices with expectations or thinking there's a box around them, when really it's the absolute opposite of that. It's already accessible. It's just like surrendering to it. So I absolutely love that definition. Thank you so much.
No
and it kind of led us into, can you talk to us a little bit about kind of breath work? And I loved how you put it, that you know, the coaching that you do is a soft transition between focus and expansive awareness, and I loved that phrase. So can you talk to us a little bit about focus, about breathwork, and then how that, you know, does lead into expanded awareness?
Yeah, certainly. And in terms of making it relevant for this program for you, the focus part that I might focus on with clients out on the beach would be perhaps our breathing. So breath work being paying conscious attention to how are you breathing. So even just asking the question, how have you chosen to be breathing right now to keep you alive, without even having to try to force a certain type of breath. That is breath work. So first of all, being observant of how expansive is your breath, and perhaps how deep are you breathing, how fast are you breathing. And then from a breath work perspective, knowing that when we change our breathing patterns, if we decide to consciously change our breathing pattern to using pranayama techniques, using, maybe people have heard of the Wim Hof method, lots of different breathing approaches that are there. Essentially, all we're doing is knowing that changing our breathing impacts the whole of our physiology. So if we choose to breathe in an even space and we play with this idea of breathing in a balanced way, so maybe 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, that will impact how our heart rate works. It'll impact our physiology. But breath work in terms of motivation, in terms of meditation, sorry, I've still got my notifications on for
so I can just hear the builders have started as well, so welcome to the real world, everyone.
And it was a really great saying that a friend of mine said, anybody can meditate in a cave and on top of a mountain, but actually the challenge is, can you meditate when you've got chaos going on around you? Exactly. And I think that's the piece of, can you fully absorb yourself in something and be present when there is chaos around you. So breath work in terms of focused attention without even trying to do something with it. I might say to somebody, take some time and quieten your mind and bring your attention to your breath and how are you breathing. For me, I actually prefer heartbeat. I actually prefer to take my attention to something in a focused way, to move into heartbeat, because our heartbeat can be felt all throughout our entire body. So although somebody might start their attention with noticing the sensations, noticing the rhythm and noticing the warmth, so I wouldn't even guide them into asking, is it warm, is it heavy, is it light? Just noticing, just simply being present and paying all of your attention, and noticing how easily your attention drifts. And every time it drifts away from that space, coming back to that space. So I might do heartbeat, I might do clouds. We sometimes observe clouds, just lying on the beach looking up at the clouds, something that we forget to do as adults sometimes, but just observe one cloud, just be really fully immersed in that cloud and what's happening with that cloud. So wave watching is easy, but wave watching tends to expand your awareness. It takes us into much more into soft fascination, because there's that wider peripheral vision. You asked about breath work particularly, and breath work is it's consciously paying attention to our breathing in order to either take us into a calmer space or into a more energized space, because of the impact it has on our heart rhythm and our nervous system. And it also impacts our immunity, it impacts our sleep. So there are lots of physical benefits to it and social benefits. If you've ever sat in a group, I know you will have, Joey, you sit in a group and just breathe together, you can feel people's heart resonance. You can actually feel, even though you're focused on your heartbeat, suddenly everything else comes in, and you recognize that you're not individual, you're part of a wider system. And that's really beautiful. That's a really beautiful exercise to do with others.
So powerful. And kind of that the use of the word soft fascination as well is a beautiful term. And if we're thinking about focus, it feels quite edgy, doesn't it? Bring your focus to, focus on this, concentration. It's sort of, they feel like edgy words, and that word soft fascination just feels yummy. So can you talk to us a bit about that, the soft fascination?
Yeah, because I think you can use soft fascination in a focused way. It's not necessarily textbook, but soft fascination in terms of expanded awareness. And I know you've got another conversation around expanded awareness, so I won't jump on that. But in terms of soft fascination,
go on.
Soft fascination, your heartbeat, even just being completely captivated by what are the sensations there. So I saw a dragonfly yesterday, and there was definitely focus. There's definitely focus, but not overly directed attention. Not where you're having to force it.
Yeah.
There was a wow, that is captivating. So maybe it's how can we play with being completely captivated in our attention upon something, rather than, if the word focus is not the right word for some people, how can you allow something to captivate your attention? And you get time distortion within that. So that's where we know that we've been fully immersed in something. And I use immersed because immersed is a blue water word.
Yeah.
But if we're fully immersed in something, time shifts and we don't even notice it. And that's our brain and body's had chance to just really rest. So focus isn't hard work. Focus is, wow, that's it. It's awe and wonder. We know from scientific perspective promote pro-social behavior. So again, that brings us back into that. It's like this wave that brings us back out into the wider world in terms of the ripple effect of how we show up for others. Soft fascination wave watching is just, you just don't have to try. There's just enough variety going on to capture your awareness without you having to grasp after an individual twinkle on a wave.
Yeah.
You can just see the spark. You have a sense of the sparkles, and you have a sense of the movement.
Beautiful. Can you talk a little bit about kind of, you've talked about the sort of the physiology, and the effects of this stuff has on the body. Can you talk to us a little bit more about what they might be? The sort of the why should we bother? But when it comes to inside of into these gangly bodies for a moment.
So there's so if you're doing breath work particularly, and you're expanding your lungs, so you're expanding your ability to oxygenate your system. So there's the mechanics of, we need oxygen to be able to process, to be able to think, much like we need water. We need to hydrate ourselves and drink plenty. Yeah.
Cheers.
But it's H2O, it's got oxygen, it's still got the oxygen in there. But we need that gas exchange, and we need to exhale as well. We need to be able to get rid of carbon dioxide and various different gases that we exhale. So we need that to be able to function well. We need it for cellular renewal, so it impacts upon actually our ability to regrow our bodies. So there's that impact. So there's the oxygenation, but also there's heart rate variability. So every time we breathe in, our heart rate goes up, and every time we breathe out, our heart rate goes down. So most of us think that if we take our pulse, or we've got a Fitbit, for example, that because we can measure everything in this really digital world these days. But if we were more analog about it, and we took our heart rhythm, we probably would notice that it's not even. So if you're getting to 60 beats per minute, it's not an even 60 beats per minute. There's fluctuations within that. And if you imagine like a wave, if you imagine breathing in and out nice and evenly, the likelihood is your heart rate is going to go up and down nice and evenly. So you can even do a visualization around that. You can visualize an even wave, so breathing in and out. If we're not breathing well, our heart rate might be going up to, say, 75 and then down to 52, then up to 69, then down to 34. It's a very messy way of getting to our 60 beats per minute. So our heart, the part of us that when, as yogis, we talk about the light within us, shining this light and creating this resonance, our heart is working really hard to get to 60 beats per minute. So it's about rhythm and flow rather than the number, which takes us much more into an analog existence. It takes us into this fact that everything is fluid. It's not a digital number on your watch that it's 60 beats per minute. So there's that piece. Our immunity is impacted by our gut health, for example. So actually being able to oxygenate our systems and breathe well and encourage our immunity to be healthy. That's part of breath work. Breath work helps us sleep. We can, if we're anxious, we can consciously choose to exhale for longer, and you will do this as the work that you do. We'll consciously choose to do shorter inhales and longer exhales because we know that will slow us down. It'll take us into that parasympathetic space, and also it builds up CO2 when you do that, and CO2 is a natural sedative. So if you're not sleeping, you may well want to use breath work to slow yourself down and actually encourage your system to ease into the night. We don't breathe. As a coach, I see people hold that. You ask somebody a difficult question and they hold their breath. They go, and then I'm like, are you going to breathe? It's like, maybe if you gave your distributed mind, not your head, your brain, that is in your entire nervous system is your brain. Maybe if you gave it some oxygen, it might give you some signals back. Whereas whilst you're physically blocking everything with this breath hold, probably not going to get the wisest information back. So many breath holds, your breath work, there's so many benefits to it. And apnea as a free diver, increasing lung capacity. Amazing. I think you do go cold water swimming. I know that you like wild swimming.
I'd say dipping rather than swimming. But I love being in water, and cold water actually as well. Yeah.
But you see people when they cold water dip, you see they go. There's the big exhale, like people going into a maternity ward. You do the exhale to pain. That's pain management. That's your body naturally knowing about pain management. When we're awkward, we laugh. When we feel awkward or uncomfortable, we laugh, which is our body's, yes, it's increasing endorphins and various different neurochemicals, but it's our body knows that we need to change our breath to change our nervous system. So laughter when we're feeling awkward or anxious is actually our body readjusting ourselves in our nervous system. There's so much to being really curious about our breath and really noticing how do we breathe on a daily basis.
Do you see the breath as kind of like the link between mind and body, as in you've talked a lot about the nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system and our mind, so is it kind of, can that be the bridge then between, if we're aware in our body, we notice that our heart is going crazy, is that where breathwork comes in to kind of the mind and the body? Is it like the bridge between the two?
I think it's a beautiful bridge. I think it's a beautiful bridge to being aware of our nervous system. If we are in an ecosystem and we're organisms and we're not the top of the tree, we meet the world through our nervous system. And if our nervous system's doing something sketchy, which is impacting the way that we're breathing, that's worth paying attention to. That's why I say, what's going on there? And then knowing that it's one of the things that we can consciously change.
Yeah.
The things that we can choose to address in terms of managing our state and energy is really empowering. And I think it's not only a bridge to our own nervous system, it's a bridge to the outside world. So again, it's quite a common, you may have heard this phrase, are you breathing in or is the world breathing out into you? I love it. I love this idea. It's a beautiful idea, and I'm usually really good at naming who it is that says things, but I've used it for so long, this phrase. I know that it wasn't mine originally, but then to be fair, nothing belongs to anybody anyway, because there's no new ideas. They're all like, So it probably was way more eloquently put when first experienced. But this sense of, if we have this idea that as we breathe in, are we breathing in, or is the world breathing out into us? And as we exhale, are we exhaling, or is the world breathing us in?
Oh, I love it. And I can feel the trees. I'm suddenly aware of, that exchange between me and the tree.
And it is an energetic exchange. So that's a bridge, and our heart, and I think our heart rhythm is a bridge. So our heartbeat, and the fact these things are linked, our heartbeat and our heart rhythm, the fact that has resonance. And we know that when you meditate on a quality such as appreciation and gratitude, even I did an experiment where we had people hooked up to ECGs, looking at jellyfish and observing what happened with their breath and their heart rhythm. And that was like, because I love the science and I love the esoteric, so I love it all. It's all fascinating. But in terms of our heart resonance, when we meditate on gratitude, Heart Math Institute have done some work, I know, around our frequency of our heart rhythm is broader. So therefore, basically what that means is the magnetic resonance of your heartbeat is wider. So you, on appreciation versus calmness, appreciation, you can feel somebody's heartbeat further away from them than if they're just calm, because appreciation has it's generally appreciated in connection to something. So we know, so that sense, and loving the marine world, you got sharks and things. Sharks can pick up magnetic resonance from a long way away. So there's all that frequency that we aren't really aware of. We kind of go along in our little worlds and don't really recognize that. But we do know that when we breathe well and we're with somebody else that's anxious, or if we do a dolphin rescue and we want to calm that animal down, we do know that if we breathe in a more balanced way, or anybody that's got pets will know this, if you breathe in a balanced way, they pick up on that. They pick up on your breath, and they'll pick up on your heart rhythm, because they're a biofeedback machine, and we're a biofeedback machine. We're all resonating from each other. So the breath is a bridge, and I think heart rhythm is a bridge, and water is a bridge, because of the fact that we are water. So the fact that we are more fluid, more liquid than we are solid. So therefore this idea of being in flow is intuitive, really.
And the kind of, you've mentioned you've touched on sort of the esoteric fascination that you have and that sort of thing. So, is there a kind of would you, I think I know the answer to this, so I'm going to ask it anyway, but is there like a spiritual approach that you feel sort of resonates with you, or is what kind of leads that esoteric fascination with you?
So for me the yoga teacher training that I did was Anusara, which is based in tantric philosophy. I'm very I love non-dualistic approach. So and that's not necessarily from an esoteric perspective. I'm a massive fan of Alan Watts. Just the way that Alan Watts basically shares ideas. So
amazing. I listened to a full lecture of his once online, and I just thought, imagine being a university student and him being your lecturer. Amazing.
And there's times that he did go completely off the, and so there's the you take the piece that resonates for you, but in terms of when on really good form, Alan Watts is, so to speak, the way that he conveys these ideas and just sense of non-duality. So I'd say a sense of, he says you can't have a back without a front. Of course you can't have a back without a front. And then my favorite of his is relates to music, but I think it's really close to the idea of surfing a wave. And he said, and you might have heard this one, where he basically says that a point of a piece of music isn't to get to the end of the piece of music. It's not a journey. You're in it. You experience it in the moment. And that's very similar to the time that you spend around water. And that's partly why I spend so much time around water from a work perspective, because it forces us to be in the moment, because it's changing all the time. So it forces us to have soft fascination, but also to have focus, to be present and aware. It's awakening. It's an awakening, and not necessarily a high energy awakening if we're in calm water, but it is certainly you're alive from a sensory perspective.
Love it. Goose pimple-tastic.
No.
So if you were going to offer kind of I don't know, just a really simple tip or piece of advice, or just something, a piece of wisdom that you want to impart with everyone watching, what would that sort of one tip or piece of advice be for people to try? Or
one is get to the water. One is get to water. That's always the first one, is get to water, because it's really healing. But water helps you do this. I would say, for me, from a meditation point of view, notice when your attention's internal versus external. So that sense of just even being aware of, where is my attention in terms of this, us being part of an ecosystem. We can get very insular, and we can be talking, and our heads can get very busy, and we can be in our own world. And it might be really healthy to take your attention internal and play with noticing your heartbeat. Play with only noticing your breath. And it can also, from a focused attention, be and soft fascination, be really healthy to take your attention externally, to become fascinated by the dunes, the flowers on the dunes, or really become fascinated with the person that you're having a conversation with, so that you are 100% present for them. Because that gift of being present for somebody, really present for somebody, we don't often, we're so busy multitasking in our thought processes. To be really present and immersed in somebody's story and hold space for them is also really beautiful for ourselves, to be able to do that. So I'd say be aware that our attention goes in like a wave, internally and externally. So it is a literal, and I say the literal zone, spelt with an O, which is the space between land and sea. It is a literal and analog existence. It's not digital, and it's not literal. It's everything's flowing.
I love it. Thank you so much. That was such a beautiful, powerful conversation. Where can people go if they want to find out more about your work or your coaching, or, and I know that you run a number of trainings as well to teach people to be teachers of this approach. So if people are interested, where can they go to find out more about you?
So safest place is goingcoastal.blue. That's the easiest place that's my website. And I'm just Lizzi L, or Lizzi _L on Instagram. So I don't generally, I've got business Facebook pages, but most people are just generally friends with me, because there isn't a difference. Still us. We show up, same with you, Joey. That's what I love about you. Show up as you, a really professional version of you, and a fun version of you, and those qualities flow through everything that you do. So yeah.
I know, I love your Instagram, because it's just you in the sea. You're just like getting battered by a wave.
or rescuing a seal, and you kind of go, or picking up some litter, and you think, well, is that on brand? And it's like, well, a big part of what I do is about looking after this space. So yes.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I've jotted a few notes down here, and the sort of the main points that I've kind of circled here are just the question, how are you breathing? How are you breathing? So simple, but really powerful. Having a soft fascination is having a focus on it with a sense of awe and wonder. I loved that. I felt really playful. And you also mentioned play again, which was play with being completely captivated by attention. Like, oh, I love it. And that idea of just the flow, just being, it's just that it's just the coming and going, the internal, the external. There's no difference. It all just is flowing like a wave as one. But
that's very Buddhist, isn't it? Non-grasping. So you don't want to grasp that stuff.
Yeah.
Just allow
let life happen. And there's an Alan Watts quote as well, which I'm going to butcher now, so I might have to I'll look it up and get it right. But it's it's not, you're not the dancer, you're the dance. Life is the dance. Like it's the play.
And I think play is massive. I think play and humor, like again, if you're coming to meditation and you're really serious about getting it right, and that's one of the first things to let go of.
Yeah. and joy and fascination. I love it, love it, love it. So thank you so much,
Thank you.
Lizzie. Pleasure to talk to you today. Bye, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation today, and there will be another interview for you ready on Friday, and I'll look forward to catching up with you on Sunday. But bye for now, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.